Alright guys, so as you can tell from that intro, obviously I have crashed my airplane and I'm ready to put it back together, and today we're just going to go over some of the techniques that I'm going to use to put this nano Zohd back together, the Dart, whatever the heck this thing is called. Now this is not a pretty way to get these planes back together, but this is called weldwood, called contact cement, and you can get this from any Home Depot. It's about $4. It's a huge bottle, it'll last you forever. But this is one of the best contact cements out there. It really has a nice adhesion to it. And it's a contact cement, so we're going to put a little bit of contact cement on either side of the brake. We're going to let it dry for about 5 minutes, tack up, and then we're going to put it back together permanently. And we're going to go from there. So we're going to go ahead and get the motor pod glued back on, and then the fuselage back together. Now the wings actually survived pretty well during this encounter. But because the wings are very flexible, we're going to insert some carbon flat rod into this airplane. Sorry about the noise in the background, guys. So this is the carbon rod that I'm going to use to strengthen the wing and also strengthen the fuselage. It is 1 millimeter by, I believe, about 3 millimeters, and it's kind of flexible in this direction, but if you stand it on its edge, it's actually very, very rigid. So we're going to put this into the wings and the fuselage in this direction so that it'll give it the highest amount of strength. Now, in case I need a little bit more, I also have some round carbon rod, which is nice to reinforce just the sides of the fuselage and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. First off, we're going to use the contact cement. Now this is a fairly watery solution, so I don't actually like using the brush that's in the inside. You end up putting too much on. We're going to put a little bit of glue on either side. We're going to tack it up, which means we kind of stick it together and take it apart and stick it together and take it apart a few times. That kind of gasses it. And then we're going to wait about 5 minutes and then put it all together back again. So let's go ahead and start with that. Alright guys, so we're going to put on this back motor pod first. I'm going to take out the contact cement here. I'm actually just going to be using my fingers to put the contact cement on because it tends to be pretty runny here. And you can kind of see all this stuff kind of coming off here already onto my table. I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. You want to put this on fairly thin, so you want to get I'm going to get as much off this brush as I can. So as you can see, this motor pod just kind of goes back together like this. Now, before you use any glue on any fuselage that you are repairing, you want to make sure you test it. And I've actually already tested this glue on this type of foam to make sure that it does not melt the type of foam that you're using. So there's a lot of different type of EPOs out there. There's a lot of different types of glue, and it's very easy to get this wrong, and then suddenly you've got instead of a repair going on, you actually have a melting bit of foam that is falling apart after trying to glue the things back together. Okay, so I've got both of the sides put together here. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the motor pod here, kind of get this together here, kind of look around, make sure there's no glue oozing out. I'm gonna take this apart. And I put it back together one more time. Take it apart. I'm just going to leave it for about 5 minutes or so. So I'll turn on the camera when we're ready to put this back together. Alright guys, so it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put this motor pod back on here, and it should go together really well. It's very, very tacky. As you guys can see, I'm trying to get this in here. This is starting to tack up already. You can see this is going to be a very tight fit. Once it goes together, it's pretty much not going to ever come off again. At least it won't break at that one point. So there we go. You can see this is very well on there. So after about 5 minutes, everything is good to go. You really want to get the contact cement into every tiny little crevice that there is there. Okay, I've got the one side done here. Definitely thinner is always best with glue. You don't want to always put too much glue into what you're doing here, so it'll just take longer and longer to dry. You want to get with just enough, but not too much. It's easier said than done. Okay, so almost done here. We'll go ahead and tack this together. Tacking just means you're putting the two halves together and then pulling it apart, and what that does is it helps to activate the adhesive properties of the glue. Okay, so I've got this side here. I've got to watch these little cables, make sure that they get out of the way as we are tacking this together. I'm just going to push it together, kind of like just really push it and force it in there, get it all integrated, and then we're going to take it apart here. Okay, alright, so we're just going to let that dry for about 5 minutes and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, guys, it's been about 5 minutes or so, so I'm going to take this these two halves. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I line it up just perfectly. And we'll get the two halves together. I'm going to push it together really well. Make sure everything is really well pressed together on the bottom here. So as you can see, there's obviously a very weak spot right here where the frame broke. So we're going to end up taking some of this carbon tube or this carbon rod here and placing these two halves together here. So let me just make sure everything is lined up here. Looks pretty nice. And you can see it's actually very, it's already pretty much glued together. That's why they call it contact cement, because when it makes contact, it's completely together and ready to go. Okay guys, so my plan to reinforce this fuselage and wings is going to be, number one, to take the 1mm by 3mm carbon rod here. Number one, I think what I'm going to do is just draw a line straight from almost to the tip of the wingtip here, touch the servo right here, and just embed this right in front of where this this vertical elevator goes to. I would like to have put it into the body here, but I think I'm just going to leave this as it is, and I might possibly laminate this wing here, because I'm thinking about the usefulness of actually keeping this wing as a portable wing so that you can still take off the wings. I don't want to glue the wings back on, so I think what I'm going to do is end this carbon strip right here. Even though it'll have some flexibility in through this area, it'll still give this a little bit of stiffness. So what I'm going to do is take a box cutter here, just draw along the line that I'm going to be making here in the wing. I'm going to make it obviously about 3mm deep. I want to embed that right into the wing with my glue here, even though it's the wrong color. I don't really care. So I'm going to put one here, one here. Then of course I need to strengthen this fuselage area here. There's always a weak spot right here where they have there's always a weak spot where they have the hatch that attaches here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this round rod here, basically do a cut through here, and just push this rod right in the four places, probably about 4 or 5 inches long here, one here, and we will do one here and one here.
Of one kind, inner light of mine now shines. Soul growing like a vine upon these late hours. Wisdom showers, showing powers as I wake to my whole new state of thought priorities. Creating infinite gratuities, endless opportunities in what we choose and what we use. Every day feel what I say, the world's your ground to play. No one but you has the power to send upon this greater hour. Gods of a cosmic sun believe in the power of one. Thought in mind, collective rewind. Universal flow, put me on this road. Energetic pull to controlling all we hold. For a future that's been told, but my heart it feels more bold. In the power of one love, spreading wings just like a dove.
Okay guys, so what I did is I went ahead and put some carbon toothpicks in here, about 3 to 4 inches long, here, and here. So I'm just going to glue those into place right now. Once again, I'm just going to saturate the thing that I'm going to be gluing, which is the rod here. It's got quite a bit of glue on it. I'm just going to place this right in, just like that. I'm just going to wipe off the excess here and make sure that this is placed fully into the fuselage. In a moment, I'll take the two halves and kind of push it together once it gets tacked up. So we've got that one done. You guys can see how easy this is. I'm just going to pull this guy out of here. Alright, I'm just going to get a little bit of the glue here. There we go. Fairly well saturated there.
Put me on this road. flies just like a dove.
What we're going to do is kind of push this together, kind of tack it a few times here, and then we'll put it together permanently in just a moment. Let's kind of push it together. There we go. Well, alright guys, so we're finished with the repairs. So I've got my ailerons working, my elevator's working, and also the stabilizer is working correctly. My throttle, everything's ready to go. My CG, I'm not quite sure where my CG is right now, but I'll have to check that out. But one of the things I'm going to do, maybe beyond what I did here, is take some packing tape to this model, just some 3M packing tape. And I'm probably going to put the 3M packing tape on the leading edge of this wing, top and bottom, to help reinforce it, give it a little bit more skin and strength. As you guys can see right here, the wing is definitely less flexible than it ever has been. And this nose pod is definitely not going to come off anymore with those 4 bits of carbon that are inside the wing there. So let me go ahead and check the CG point here, which is here, and let's see here. So we're a tiny bit tail heavy there, so I'm going to need to move that battery forward a little bit. Anyway, hopefully I help you guys out. This is a very soft foam, and it's really not made to go to 4S. It's supposed to be going on 3S, so you know I was pushing it a little bit. So it's kind of my fault for the thing breaking apart in the air, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe it'll help you guys out with some repairs in the future, and I will talk to you guys later. See ya. Bye.
What's in front of me? This image I see, a beautiful face, one of no disgrace, black marble on the chase for the mind, bottom aligned to my purpose of one kind, inner light of mine now shines. So